What you focus on will determine your outcome. Hello and welcome. It's Rebecca here again with another video in this series. So today we're talking about focus. If you haven't already watched my previous videos, I will have them linked below, and I will have a playlist available for you as well. Go check them out. They will really help you. It's a really powerful series, and I do hope that you enjoy it. If you've watched them and you enjoy it, please do ensure you share, and comment as well. Let me know that you're enjoying these videos. Now, if you haven't already subscribed, I would appreciate if you could just hit the subscription button and the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. Thank you so much for that. So without further ado, let's jump straight into this video. Okay, so one of the key things I did during my fertility journey, we found it very challenging to conceive our first child, and we went through a period of several years really where we were trying and nothing was happening, and we were getting negative reports. But in the end, after spending a lot of money on fertility treatments and literally ending up without our savings because we'd done several fertility treatments and they were unsuccessful, and so at the end of that, I went back to the drawing board. But one of the first key things that I did, or rather the first key thing I did, was I shifted my focus. I stopped focusing on the circumstances, focusing on what wasn't working, what wasn't going right. Prior to that, I had been looking every month and thinking, I still not got my positive results. What's going on? It's still not happened. It's still not happened. And I was slowly working towards not looking anymore. And I think as I was building my faith, I was really getting to that place where I wasn't looking so much. But after that final fail, I literally just came to that place where I stopped looking. I had to go back to the drawing board. I had to refocus, shift my thinking. And so this is why I believe that this is a key part of ensuring that the desires and plans that God has for our lives, the dreams that He's placed in our hearts, it's a key part of making sure that those dreams come to fruition in our lives. We are key players. If you've watched the previous videos, you will know that we are key players in seeing God's plans and purposes come to fruition in our lives. God isn't controlling them. God isn't controlling His plan for our lives. We have a key part to play in it. So I urge you to watch the previous videos if you haven't already done so. They really go into a bit of detail on this, and you will find them really helpful. So I stopped focusing on what was going on. That is the key thing you have to do. Stop focusing on the 3D, what you're seeing in this realm. Because as you're focusing on what you're seeing in this realm, you can't keep your eyes on things above. Christ said, fix your eyes on things above, right? The scripture tells us, fix your eyes on things above. You can't focus on things above when you're focused on things you're seeing here in the physical. We spoke in the previous video about your thinking, what you're thinking, what is dominating your thinking, that is what you will see in your life. And so if the circumstances are dominating your thinking, you will see more of that. You will not change them. But if what's dominating your thinking is the thoughts and desires and plans of God and promises of God for your life, then that is what will manifest in your life. The scripture says, my thoughts are not your thoughts, which means we have to align our thoughts with God. Where do we find God's thoughts for us? We find them in the scriptures. Think on what is in the scriptures. Paul said, think on these things, what is pure, lovely, of good report. Paul said to think on these things. What we think on is essential for the outcomes in our lives. It is essential for what we see manifest and unfold in our lives. And so it is our job, our responsibility to fix our eyes on the scriptures, to fix our eyes on the things above. What is going on in the spirit realm? What has God said about this situation? If I can keep my eyes on what is going on in the fourth dimensional realm, in the spirit realm, if I can keep my eyes fixed on that dimension as opposed to fixed on what's going on in the physical realm, then I know that what is going on there is what I can truly bring to pass in this life in partnership with God. So we have to adopt and embrace his thoughts for our lives and speak those over our lives and act on those before we can actually see them come to fruition. So I want to read something to you from a very little book here, but very powerful. And this is based on various studies in quantum physics. I really want to read this to you just to give you a picture of what actually happens at a micro level. Some people believe that the study of quantum physics is really showing us what is going on in the spirit realm. This is what some people believe, but I want you to hear this. So the interesting thing is that scientists have discovered that the electron that is shown orbiting the nucleus is not always there in particle form. So this electron, which we've all seen, right? It's not always there in particle form. It exists in a wave state, like a cloud, everywhere at once, until someone looks at it. When the scientists observe it, it suddenly appears as a dot, a particle. What we all want to know is, how does it know someone is looking at it? It is obviously responding to the observer's interaction with it. So one of the difficulties in quantum physics is that the particles behave somewhat different for each observer, which leads me to the question, does it behave according to the scientist's beliefs, right? Does it behave according to what the scientist believes? In any event, we can definitely conclude that Jesus was right when he taught that all matter responds to faith and words. The substance from which our world is made is influenced and manifested by words. The things that you desire are made up of atoms. They know what you believe. They hear what you say and they behave accordingly. So I want to focus on two main things here. First of all, she says that these particles, they appear like clouds, right? They seem to be everywhere at the same time, right? And they appear in waveform until somebody focuses on them, until somebody observes them, which is focusing on them. When somebody focuses on them, that's when we have this dot-like state. They change the form. And so what it's saying to us is that your focus on something is what changes its form, right? How you focus on it is what changes it. So she talks about the fact that when you focus on it, it becomes a dot. It becomes a dot. But how does it know that it's being focused on, right? It implies that it's really, you're observing it, but it's responding to you. It's responding to you and your beliefs. Now, in the next part, she says the particles behave somewhat differently according to the observer. So depending on who's observing it, it will behave differently. Does it know what you believe, what the person who's focusing on it believes, thinks or believes? So this is why we're talking about focus today. The particle behaves differently depending on who is actually observing it, meaning who is actually focusing on it. So when one person focuses on it, it does one thing. When somebody else focuses on it, it does something different. This is the power of focus. So whatever you focus on, and with the specific belief, that is what becomes magnified in our lives. Whatever I focus on, when I focus on things in the scriptures, when I focus on things through the scriptures, then I can see the power of God work in my life, because my focus, my mind is kept on things above. My mind is kept on spiritual things. My mind is kept on the power of God. The same is true for you. When your mind is focused on things in the spirit, through the eyes of God, through the power of God, that's what you'll see in your life. But when it's focused on the circumstances, again, you will see more of that, or you will bring about something negative as well. For me, when I shifted my focus, that was the beginning of the change in my story. It was not long after that, after years of trying, it was really not long after that, that I really began to come into a space where I was now able to receive wisdom concerning my situation, and as a result receive my miracle. I believe that from the time that I would say my focus had really shifted, it was probably a period of less than 3 months that I actually saw major changes in my life. I stopped looking at what it looks like, and then I came into new information. I was now able to receive new information that helped me, and I was now in a position where I could act on it. I was patient enough to act on the wisdom that God had revealed, and because of that, I ended up seeing my miracle. I ended up changing that story with the help of God. So I really want you to understand that what you focus on will determine the outcome that you get. What you focus on will determine your outcome. So if you've enjoyed this video, found it helpful, do like, comment, and let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you think about the power of focus, the law of focus, and do share it. And if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. Until the next one, bye.